Hello, fellow skooma drinkers. This is Supreme Black High with the skooma drinkers, or even skooma boys if you've been cursed to play with us before. Back with another video today. We are covering some potential buffs for a number of characters and Marvel Rivals. Let me repeat this. It is potential, meaning that none of this is confirmed, so take these buffs with a grain of salt until something more official releases. All this comes from XOX Leak from Twitter. So go ahead and check that post out. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to see all these busts for yourself. With that being said, I don't want to be exposed as a fraud when it comes to reporting gaming news. I'm just starting out with it, and we know what I'm talking about when it comes to frauds. Anyways, let's get into these buffs and nerfs. Keep in mind, I'm only going to comment on the ones that I think are super interesting, and the other ones you can read on the screen yourself. So here are some of the Vanguards and tank changes. Venom is getting buffed, no nerfs, which makes sense. He's a Vanguard that if you play him, sometimes people will tell you to swap, and that's before they even give him a chance to play. That said, the buffs are pretty solid. His F ability, or X if you play controller, or simply just his dive, that will now no longer pop you in the air, but instead bring you towards him if you are hit by it, if I understand the wording correctly. He also got an alt charge buff, which I'm not mad at, considering he can 100% slow charge his alt if he isn't hitting all of his shots, which, I mean, who charges their alts fast without hitting targets often? Well, we got the Squirrel Girls and Moon Knights of the world. They get their alts pretty fast because of how AoEs work in this game. So Venom having to be pretty direct with how he hits people, he needs that buff. And I think that's pretty fair. His alt's not even that good anyways. Well, it's pretty good, but not that good. So, long story short, expect to be eaten more. Groot gets a buff where he can place his walls a bit further, so he's even more annoying. Magneto is interesting to me, though. I didn't think his shield was overpowered by any means. It makes him face tank all projectiles without it being broken. But, you know, that's for like 2 seconds. Strange can keep his shit up forever in theory. Obviously, you're bursting it down, but it's not going to be bursted in 2 seconds by a couple of people. So, to me, I do think it's pretty crazy that they are nerfing how long he can keep his shield up, but it is what it is. He does get more damage in his primary, so I'm pretty sure he could kill people faster considering the fact that that combo is like a 4-hit combo. And it seems like they want him to be a character that kills more rather than just face tanks, which I'm totally fine with. I love aggressive Magnetos. Pause. I feel like I need to say pause on that. Doctor Strange gets a much needed nerf, but is just his health being decreased by 50. He needs further nerfs. I don't know what they could do to not completely destroy him, but he has way too much versatility in his kit. Iron Fist is getting some small nerfs and some major buffs. He's slightly decreasing his damage output, but in turn he becomes tankier, which in my opinion is a fine change. He gets a health buff of 50 overall, so he's just naturally more tankier, but then he can also heal for more. He also gets more overshield on his block, and I think that forces people to acknowledge and deal with him, even in the triple support meta, because in triple support meta, if you got an Iron Fist on your team or on the enemy team, if you're not backlining with him, people will deadass ignore him or just let him single target somebody out while they kill the rest of his team. And honestly, you know, you got the Rockets that could just get away, things like that. So he's really just being annoying. And trust me, if he's chasing Rocket, he's wasting his fucking time anyways. I think with him being tankier, he can, instead of focus one person, he could focus multiple people now. And they're going to be forced to turn around and deal with him. And if they're forced to turn around and deal with him, that means that he's doing his job, even if he doesn't get the kills because they're not healing their tanks. Mr. Fantastic's ult gets a much needed buff. He did less damage than Wanda's spears, which is just crazy because Wanda does negative damage overall. So I do think that is freaking hilarious, but they made it to where it does the same amount of damage. I believe that's 70 per hit. Iron Man gets a interesting buff. I was never a fan of Iron Man. I actually dislike the character just because he's extremely annoying, but I also think he's good. You rarely see Iron Mans though in higher ranks without the Hulk team up, but he does get a damage buff, so maybe we'll be seeing more, much to my chagrin. And this may be the Iron Man hating me, but I do not think that he needs a beam damage buff. So yes, he does get a beam damage buff, so be careful with it. It was always strong, it's stronger now. So maybe that's like the trade-off because the nerf that's coming to his team up. I'm not angry at all about it. I just think that it was a little bit unnecessary. But now onto another flyer. Storm definitely needed a huge nerf. People only play her because of how good she is. They don't like her kit. They don't like her character. There's nothing like that. It is simply because she is meta, and I hate it. I hate that mindset. It's so unfun. But at the end of the day, what can you do? Anyway, she's going to need a nerf. 10% nerf to her damage from 30 meters out. So if you're further than 30 meters out, then it's going to do less damage. Great. when you approach her, she can still anti-dive you because every single time you see a storm, you see a Thor, and that fucking lightning shit hurts. But regardless, we're in the right direction. This puts her in between season 0 Storm and the first half of season 1 Storm, so I'm interested to see how this plays out in the grand scheme of things. People can't play her anyways in higher ranks because she's always banned, so I have not been getting tortured by Storm players often anyways. But for those lower ranks that's climbing through hell, or for those Storm mains that's trying to fucking abuse her until they get to Diamond, hey man, what are you gonna do? Your time's coming. Star-Lord gets a slower alt charge, which is great, but not Moon Knight, which is pretty interesting. Moon Knight does get his alt nerfed though. It's way more reactable, so you can escape with your life now. But if he teams it up with Groot's alt, you're dead regardless, as you should be. But that reactability, I don't even know if that's a fucking word. That is extremely important. That shit almost insta kills you. At least it's gonna insta hurt you. So if you're already in a fight and you're like at fucking half of your health and he pops that shit, you're getting hit by at least one, unless you're a character with an iframe. Speaking of iframes, Scarlet Witch gets a much needed alt buff, and as a Scarlet Witch main, I think she's far from being done to make her more viable, especially in higher ranks, but this is a step in the right direction. If you want to know what I think she needs, then just watch my Scarlet Witch video. But just speaking on what they did give her here, I think it's a nice change. She will still instantly die if she's focused, but you can afford to be a little bit more brave with it if you're doing it in the middle of the fight. Scarlet typically needs to team her alt with something to survive. It does allow her to be a little bit more brave with the fight, as she can just pop it while everybody else is fighting, and then they're not going to have enough time to turn around and then kill her as a team. You may get 1 or 2 people turning around, but they're going to get tore up whoever they were fighting before they turned around. So 350 health, pretty solid. We'll see how well it actually works. Black Widow gets buffed. Now, I love when Black Widows go off and prove people wrong, but let me say this, do not overdo her buffs. Black Widow is not a terrible character. In my experience at higher ranks, Black Widows go fucking crazy. She is an extremely dangerous character. I think her alt maybe needs a buff if anything, which is funny because they nerfed it, but her damage is great. She has a great stun for people who push her. Her kit is actually not that bad. Trust me, people. Please do not overdo her buffs because she is actually pretty fucking good. I think she's actually in a really good spot outside of maybe a couple things to be adjusted in her kit. Hawkeye gets a buff to his alt. He charges to max way faster, and that is dangerous considering the fact that he can hit you where you were instead of where you are. So you're going to die. Magic gets a damage nerf, which is crazy. I know that she can one combo 250 targets, but I mean, who else is she going to one combo? Like, you're at 250 health, die. Like, you could get out of it. You're not stunned. You're just taking raw damage. Like, you be aware that there's a Magic in the fucking game. Keep your head on the fucking shovel, and Magic gets bullied. So her getting a damage nerf is pretty crazy. Now, healers. Healers get nerfed. Fuck healers. Fuck the triple support meta. Fuck all of you motherfuckers trying to cheese games. You don't even enjoy playing the way that you do. You don't even enjoy playing in a triple support meta. You just enjoy winning. Fuck you. You're a cancer to the game. Real talk. Real talk. The support meta isn't even good. It's annoying, but it has the worst win percentage out of all the non-meme cops. You guys actually just fucking suck. Anyways, this doesn't completely kill triple support. I just look at this as an inadvertent buff to dive characters, okay? Y'all can see the buffs and the nerfs for each character. Basically, it's going to be slower alt charges. So, yes, rockets may be more important. Adam Warlocks may be more important now because people are not just going to be sitting on healing alts because it's going to charge slower. That means that dive characters can take their time and actually focus the healers without having to worry about them popping an alt every 5 fucking seconds. And here are the team up changes. Moon Knight gets healed. Symbiote Bind is broken now. Complete iframe is great, but it's only 1 second, so no more dying to alts basically, but I think that's really important. Magic team up is better. Maybe that's why they nerfed her as a solo character, because now dive characters are probably about to be the meta. But best of all, the Hulk Iron Man team up is getting nerfed. How bad? I don't know. It's question marks here, but as a Wanda main who typically turns Iron Man into a fucking victim, it makes me extremely happy to know that he is getting nerfed in that team up. Now just include Strange in that team up nerf, and we'll be good because his damage is crazy in that. He does a lot of damage if he max charges that fucking blast that he does. I fucking hate it. It's ridiculous. This team up is the reason why Hawk is banned so much. It's not because Hawk as himself is just a great character. He's a modest character, and I think that's unfair for like true Hawk mains. People are so scared of the team up that they just ban Hawk. You're probably still gonna get banned until they nerf Strange. Just saying. Anyways, that's it for the buffs and nerfs. What do you think they should have done? Let me know in the comments. Other than that, this is Supreme Black Kai with the Skooma Drinkers. You guys be easy. Peace.